On September 16th, 2018, a zoophile by the name Pseudonym exposed a group of furries for being Zoosadists, people who find pleasure in the abuse, torture, and killing of animals. They released numerous chat logs taken from a Zoosadist Telegram account. Inside those logs were horrifying photo and video evidence of animal abuse, as well as disturbing discussions of child abuse and plots to drug and rape animals and people alike. The shock was felt across the internet as the stomachs of even the most hardened internet veterans were tested. The wave of fury from both inside and outside the furry fandom seemed like it would be enough to force those exposed not just out of the furry community, but into the hands of the law.
Now I just want to see justice served to the people who did harm the animals in the videos.
365 days later, what has happened to the group exposed that fateful September day? Two weeks after the leaks, EliteKnight posted a journal to his FA where he goes by Corey TWC. In the journal, he admitted to the logs being real, but also shared misinformation in an attempt to shield himself from backlash. He blamed his actions on SnakeThing, claiming Snake had groomed him into Zoosadism, and he only videotaped himself assaulting and raping his dog because Snake promised to be his friend if he did. A quick look at the logs proves he made the video because he wanted porn from SnakeThing, not friendship. And from further looks into the chat logs from the Zoosadism group Beastie Beast Beasts, which were recently made public, we can see EliteKnight was already into Zoosadism and enjoyed extreme animal gore and snuff content months before he talked with SnakeThing one-on-one. At the beginning of January 2019, he posted a second journal, claiming 2 months of therapy had been enough to cure him of being a hardcore Zoosadist. He spent more time crying over himself, trying to get pity out of his audience, while never fully admitting to what he had done to his dog.
There's another video where a man in fursuit, this is where it was mistaken reported to be Kero's fursuit, had oral and anal sex with a dog who clearly not having it.
Halfway through the journal, he changed gears to his issues with the furry fandom and declared he was taking a step back from the community. Later that same month, an investigation was opened into him after Connor Goodwolf contacted his local police. And on February 11th, 2019, EliteKnight was arrested on one charge of aggravated animal cruelty, and 10 charges of prohibition of certain acts in connection with obscene materials were added the next day. His dogs were rescued from his home when he was arrested. He has since been bailed out and is awaiting trial. Emberwolf disappeared from the internet entirely after the release of the logs. Given that he only shared one photo of bestiality porn, and I couldn't find any laws against bestiality porn distribution in his state of Colorado, it's unlikely he could face police action from what happened in the logs. Ember's current location is unknown. The claims of Glowfox being a Zoosadist were quickly dismissed after reading through his conversations with SnakeThing revealed only a normal interest in zoophilia. When a thread discussing Glowfox's chat logs with SnakeThing was created on Kiwi Farms, Glowfox's boyfriend Coast joined the forum to defend Glowfox. He confirmed the logs were legitimate, but said Glowfox's story of raping an 11-year-old boy he was babysitting when he was 18 was a fabrication, based on a real event from when Glowfox was 13. Glowfox had numerous excuses for talking with SnakeThing. First, he claimed he was just pandering to a client, then he was just pandering to someone with rare cub porn he wanted, and finally, he was too scared of SnakeThing to stop talking to him. Later, screenshots of Glowfox denying the logs being real would surface as well. No police action has been taken against Glowfox, and he is still active on Twitter and Patreon. Within hours of the logs being released, Kero claimed his Telegram had been hacked, and all messages in those logs had been edited. A technically impossible task, as Telegram disables editing on messages older than 3 days. Nashaina compared the Telegram account number of messages forwarded to the channel Zoosadism Evidence to messages he had with Kero, proving those messages in the channel had come from Kero's account. Kuro's friend Ashley Zoofox posted a transcription of an alleged call her friend had with Pennsylvania State Police, saying Kero had already been found innocent. However, when people called the police, it was discovered no investigation had been opened into him yet, and the entire call transcription was a farce. On September 28th, Kero gave conflicting interviews to Ashley Zoofox and Cathorix, flip-flopping on whether the logs were real or fake.
And then, Kero agreed with me and told me that yes, the logs are his. He had those conversations, and he does have an interest in some aspects of zoophilia.
Are the chat logs real or are the chat logs fake?
Okay, so the chat logs are fake. I didn't say a lot of those things.
Investigations into Kero were opened in Pennsylvania and later New York, as more evidence of him being involved in animal abuse came to light, including videos of him sexually abusing his family dog Coda and messages from a chat group called Sinbin, where he claimed to have killed live mice to fulfill his vor fetish.
This is one of those CSI motherfuckers that's been comparing pictures and videos of dogs being molested to your dog, and locations where those animals are being assaulted to your garage. Real interesting timing, by the way, Kero, that the moment that he starts to post his evidence, you go and start deleting shit. Really makes you wonder what's going on, huh?
In late January 2019, Kero posted what is currently his final tweet. He announced he was leaving the fandom entirely and would be deleting his Twitter and Patreon. Kero's Beast Forum account was uncovered by Kiwi Farms members, and numerous threads he posted in were archived. One of these would prove to be the origin of a video sent to New York police. Despite his claims of leaving the fandom and deleting his social media, Kero was still active on FA, and both his Twitter and Patreon are still up. He joined Anthrocon chat groups under an alt, though he was thrown out of them when his identity was discovered. His friends Diamond Wolf, Ashley Zoofox, and Lord Ocelot brought 2 of his fursuits to Anthrocon in attempts to run social experiments. When the video evidence sent to New York was determined to be too old to be used in court due to statute of limitations, the New York investigation into Kero was dropped. The Pennsylvania investigation continues. Sanji's chat logs were not included in the initial release. It's possible this was due to him not being a Zoosadist, as at no point in his conversations with SnakeThing did they discuss abusing animals. What the two did discuss, however, was pedophilia and plans to groom numerous minors, including SnakeThing's own family members. Sanji's local police were alerted to his criminal activity. One of the callers, Bonitis, discussed his experience, revealing a severe bungling of the case.
Boy, it sure turns out they don't have fucking protocol for this shit at all, at least not in Texas. I ended up being put through to 7 different departments. At one point, they had me call the Ann Arbor police because they're like, well, they have to file a report up there. And I'm like, but it's the guy down there. They didn't know. Like I said, they kept switching departments. Like, oh no, it was like they were trying to get rid of me. Like, honestly, that's what I thought it was. Eventually they put me on the phone with ICE. I'm on hold with ICE for half an hour, get disconnected.
Sanji was removed from his company Inked for his webpage and social media pages. Remaining staff gave conflicting reports on whether he was still in charge or if he had stepped down. Based on Yelp information about the company and later emails, it's clear he is still in charge of Inked and his public removal has only been a PR move to save face. Prior to the logs being released, Sanji and Inked were scheduled to vend at Midwest Fur Fest 2018, a convention that touts itself as safe for minors. Despite multiple warnings delivered to MFF security about the threat he posed to minors, Sanji was still allowed to attend. Several artists and staff members have left Inked after Sanji was outed. His shady business practices and complaints from numerous artists have also driven people away from working with him. One former staff member and artist attempted to file a lawsuit over Sanji's refusal to pay contributors to an art book Inked produced. The suit fell through due to lack of funding. No police action has been taken against Sanji, and he and his company Inked are still active at furry conventions. Roughly 1 month after the log's release, Sephius was investigated by Austrian police. His devices were seized and his dog, Inuke, was brought to a vet to be examined for signs he'd been abused. It is unknown if anything was found on his devices, but as he had previous experience wiping evidence from his computer and no action has been taken, it's doubtful the police were able to find anything. What surviving evidence exists of him sexually abusing his dogs, such as a video where Inuke is made to lick urine off his fursuit, must not have been enough to break Austrian laws for animal abuse. Sephius wrote a journal on FA bragging about the police not finding anything, and claimed to do volunteer work for his local animal shelters as an attempt to prove he couldn't abuse animals. No police action has been taken, and he is still active in European furry communities. Shubnuts has been the most difficult of the Zoosadists to identify. His conversations with SnakeThing were short and gave little personal information. What information there is suggests he's an older member of the Pacific Northwest zoophile community. No police action has been taken. SnakeThing's immediate response to being outed was to delete and hide his online presence. He even attempted to flee from home, but returned, likely because he was unable to care for himself. In conversations with friend and fellow pedophile conspirator Sanji Nativus, he tried to shift the blame from his rape of a 12-week-old puppy onto an accomplice and downplay the suffering he inflicted on the dog. After photo and video evidence of him assaulting the puppy was delivered to his local police, SnakeThing was arrested for animal abuse, animal neglect, and sexual assault of an animal, and had his electronic devices seized as well. However, 2 days later, he was released. The district attorney had decided to release him to avoid the risk of him getting away with other crimes committed in his numerous Telegram conversations by taking a plea deal. SnakeThing has been free ever since, and the investigation appears to have entered a state of limbo. His current location is unknown. Upon being outed, Tane's response was to claim he had secretly been working with police the whole time, and he had only been talking with SnakeThing to gather evidence against him to build a case. This excuse quickly fell apart, as in the logs, Tane often encouraged SnakeThing to use Telegram secret chats to show him illegal pornography, which was essentially destruction of evidence, as secret chat messages automatically get deleted by self-destruct timer or by logging out. SnakeThing's local police hadn't been notified of his criminal activity until the release of the logs as well, further blowing Tane's excuse out of the water. Further evidence of Tane's guilt, and proof the logs are real, came when child pornography he created with a minor he and SnakeThing discussed grooming and abusing came to light. Despite being outed as a zoosadist and pedophile who partook in plots to drug and rape people, Tane's friends at conventions like PawCon looked the other way, and allowed him to continue to staff there. Those who attempted to alert them of the dangers Tane posed were snubbed as attention seekers, and all evidence against Tane was dismissed as call-out culture. No police action has been taken against Tane, and he is still active in the West Coast furry community. Tequita's logs from his alt account, Mr. Bitchtits, were not included in the initial release. Why this isn't clear, considering he was one of the people pseudonym named in their tweets. Due to him using an alt, people weren't able to figure out who he was at first glance through the logs, but Mr. Bitchtit's description of being an admin of a Zoothalia chat group alongside Shadow Wolf, and flat out saying he's Tequita, prove he is, well, Tequita. Tequita deleted his Tumblr and main Twitter account shortly after Pseudonym outed him. Because his involvement in Zoosadism was muddled, Tequita escaped scrutiny and is still active on his Twitter account. No police action has been taken against him. After Cuban animal welfare groups outed him across Cuban news sites, Wolf was fired from his job and placed in police custody. This did not last long, however, as a few weeks later, Cuban animal welfare group SEDA reported he was out. According to the last update about his status with the authorities, Wolf is awaiting trial. However, that update was in January, and there hasn't been word since. Cuba has no animal abuse laws, so the possibility of him facing justice falls to possible sodomy laws that he may have violated based on some videos he shared to Beast Forum. Seta has stepped in where the police cannot, and have been spreading word of his horrifying acts as far as they can. While he has been out, Wolf has been attempting to take in more dogs from local shelters. Whether he is still active online is unknown. So, after 365 days, what has changed? In all honesty, not much. But certainly not from lack of trying. Police have been called, and they have been sent gigabytes worth of evidence. Community leaders have been alerted and warned of the dangers these people pose. Large parts of the community have been speaking out against these people. And yet, not only are most of the Zoosadists still free, many of them have been welcomed back into the community. What are we supposed to do in situations like this? The easy answer is to go to the police, but what do you do when the police can't do anything? Or worse, what do you do when the police can do something, but choose to shrug you off when provided with evidence of horrific crimes?
And we have been told through our entire lives to have nothing but respect and reverence for the beautiful and dangerous job that police do. And just note, you can present them chat logs that and clear identifying information about someone who is talking about trying to have sex with a 14-year-old as a multiple sexual offender in his life, and they don't know what to do with it.
Do we try to resolve it at a community level? But how can the community fully push these people out when those in power are more concerned with keeping them in? I really wish I had an easy answer to this. This controversy has, no doubt, brought to light the worst aspects of the furry fandom. The evil that can hide behind cute animal avatars, and the complacency which allows that evil to fester and spread. But it has also roused some of the best parts of the fandom. The people with the drive to fight against the evil and protect innocent people and animals. Onlookers like to say furries stood by and did nothing and even supported the Zoosadists. But that couldn't be further from the truth. It's furries who have been working with the police, doing the research and demanding change within the community. They may not have much to show for their efforts because of police and community leader inaction, but they have not been sitting quietly. To all who have fought against the Zoosadists, thank you. You've been a light of hope in one of the fandom's darkest moments. I'm not naive enough to think that something of this nature will never happen again. Maybe not this extreme, but predators have shown time and time again that they will continue to hurt people. At the very least, I can walk away knowing that there are good people willing to bring the fight to them.